Alright guys, welcome back to another Dragonheir video. It's been a week since my last video. I was just busy IRL. Now I'm back here today playing Dragonheir and want to make a video. Today's topic is I want to talk about otherworld exploration because I think on the fastest server you should be able to play otherworld exploration this week. Well, I mean next day or so, right? Otherworld exploration will open, and I think for otherworld exploration, this is where you can have a massive jump here on the leaderboard. Like, it will give you ridiculous amounts of echoes of Clipstra, right? Like, I remember last season before the otherworld exploration, I was like rank 8 or something. When the otherworld exploration releases, I jump to number 1 instantly. But that will require some preparation. And I'm gonna tell you guys, at least share with you guys some champion I built throughout the process. I know it's a pay-to-win account, right? But I can tell you guys this. If it's the same format from same as season 1, you have 150 otherworld exploration stamina, you should build like 12 different teams, right? You should build 12 different teams. It doesn't matter you're pay to win, you're a whale, kraken, low spender, free to play. I'm not sure about free to play, right? But you should build 12 teams. So you have to do 1 dungeon and 1 daily quest every day, and you have 130 stamina left. Well, technically you should build 13 teams, right? But I think for most of people, like, you're gonna build at least 10 teams, right? Like, you don't have to, like, otherworld exploration, it has the same format as those continental challenge boss, where the top single hit damage is going to be 22 million. It will require some gear, but I would say 11 million, everybody should be able to hit this mark with a team they built, right? And as long as they can hit 11 million damage on a team, it is better than doing the dungeon. Well, like, I mean, if you even hit 7 million, it's better than doing the dungeon. So I highly recommend people to build more than 6 teams, because in season 1, a lot of people made the mistake to only build 6 different teams, right? 1 for each affinity, and they think they're done, and they just use the stamina to farm the dungeon, and that's where they got fall behind. For real, you gotta build like at least 10 teams. Like, even if you can only hit 7 million damage, it's a win, right? And I think 11 mil shouldn't be a problem even for a team that has no legendary champion, right? 11 mil is fine, but 22 million, like, you gotta have maybe 1 legendary champion to hit that mark. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about all 6 affinities. What team or how many teams you should build for each affinity. Let's start with fire affinity. And for account like mine, I have every single champion. I think I will be able to build like, if we're talking about 22 million damage mark, I think I will be able to build like 3 teams with 22 million damage, and maybe 1 more team with 11 mil damage. So potentially 4 teams from fire affinity, right? So you can have, like, if you have some let's say you have 2 wild legendary champions, you just split them up, you can make 2 wild teams. So Arich is a free champion, right? Everybody can get Arich, and you just pair Arich with 2 wild epic hero. It's an easy 22 million. Easy 22 million. Alright, then you have, if you have more a wild hero, you can build another wild team. Like, when you're building team for otherworld exploration, try to split up the broken heroes, right? Because you are not really going to push the damage to 100 million or something. You just want to hit the 22 million mark and be done with it. So try to like even out the team in terms of their strength, right? You don't have to build like a crazy powerful team. So I will probably split up some teams here. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I can potentially build like 3 wild team to hit 22 million, right? And because wild is just really good in single target, even with some rare champions. A champion like this, right? I think if your goal is to hit 11 million, I think she can do it. Seriously, this rare champion, rare wild champion, like they should be able to hit 11 million damage with decent gear, right? And as for burn, yeah, burn is gonna be a little bit tough in my opinion, because I think this damaging mechanic is for AOE, so I don't really have high expectation on burning teams, but I think I have all the burning legendaries, so I think 22 million. Yeah, I should be able to hit 22 million with a burn team. So yeah, I'll build like 3 to 4 teams from fire affinity alone, right? By the way, you can build up to 15 teams, right? If you have decent enough damage, you don't even have to do one daily quest or one daily dungeon. If you have like 15 teams to hit 22 million, right? I'll try that. So for Frost, for the Ice affinity, for Frost, it's a little bit difficult. Like last season, I was able to build one team to hit 22 million. Like I would say Frost is actually quite difficult because all the Frost champions are AoE champion. Like I was struggling so hard on my second Frost team, right? And my second Frost team was able to hit 11 million damage with pretty much all legendary champions. So I would say for most people, having one Frost team to hit 22 million, that's pretty much it. Don't worry about the second Frost team. But if you have Ice Blast champion, I think Ice Blast is super cool. Like if you have one of the legendaries here, you pair that legendary with that 2 epic heroes from Ice Blast, you should be able to hit 22 million damage. Ice Blast is super good in single target, right? And I would say like even with 3 Ice Blast epic champion, you should be able to hit 11 million damage with decent gear. So from Frost affinity, I don't have much expectation, but I think you will be able to build at least one 22 million damage team, maybe 2 if you have enough legendaries. Alright, so that's about it. As for the Necrosis, in Necrosis there are a lot of summoning champions, even the epics. Like I think all the epics here marked as summon are pretty decent. I tried every single one of them in season 1, right? What I did is I pretty much split them up with all the legendaries, right? Try to even out their strength. And in season 1, I was able to build 2 teams to hit 22 million. I did use Joyce, right? I did use Zadok. For this guy, I didn't really try him. So, but by reading his skill kit, I think he's good also. I think he's good also. But these 2, Joyce and Zadok, is definitely solid. Again, with epic champion only, you will be able to hit 11 million at least without an issue. So yeah, and last season I was struggling really hard to find a good healer from this affinity, to be honest. And I did use Estella, but it didn't work very well. I saw some content creators are saying that this champion is a top tier healer. Like I don't know, man. Based on my experience, she doesn't bring enough healing to my team. Maybe I built her wrong, I don't know. But let me know, right? Do you think this healer is good? Otherwise, there are really no other healer in this affinity other than the legendary champion, this guy here, Thorin. This is a decent healer, but except this legendary, there are really no other choice. That's why I'm a little bit concerned about this affinity, right? This season is pairing with fire, right? Fire doesn't have a healer as well. So it might be a little bit difficult to build a self-sustained team, right? I know Zarloth has a healing, but the healing from this guy is it's actually not enough, right? It's not enough to keep up the whole team. So I'm a little bit worried. Maybe I will have to go with Estella again because there's really no other healer in this affinity, right? So we go with then the next one is Radiance. I think Radiance is super cool. You will be able to build like at least one team if you only have epic champion. If you have like 2 legendary, 2 rally legendary, you will be able to build 2 teams without an issue, right? I think rally, it doesn't have like the craziest single target damage, but if you have decent gear on at least 1 rally legendary, you will be able to hit 22 million mark quite easily, and they got like some of the best healer, best support unit in the game, right? And a lot of tank choices here, right? We got this Adrith, everybody can get a super good tank champion, and we have Garius, one of the best tank in the game. So in terms of self-sustain, I'm not worried at all. So if you have good Raleigh Legendary, definitely try to even them out, split them into different teams, and try to hit 22 million mark on different teams. Right? I think you will be able to build, like, if you have like 1 or 2 legendaries, you will be able to build 2 teams to hit 22 million mark. Like the epic is also quite decent here. Like this champion here, he does a lot of damage. Right? He does a lot of damage. All right, let's move on to the lightning. Lightning is super cool because Otherworld Exploration is all single target. Everything is single target if they don't change the format, right? So for Dullness, if you have some legendaries, like all the Dullness legendaries are good, right? Every Dullness legendary is good. There's not a single one that is bad. And as for the epic champion, I think I had another account before. I built every single one of them, every single epic champion for Dauntless, and they are all very good. Like they're all very good. With epic champion alone, you will be able to hit 22 million mark if you have decent enough gear, right? Like champion like this guy or this guy, they deal tons of damage if you build them correctly. So I would say this is the only faction I think with epic champion alone, you will be able to hit 22 million. So for Dauntless, if you have legendaries, I could build like 3 teams for Dauntless alone, right? And then they have Thunderbolt. I mean, I only have 1 Thunderbolt champion. Again, Thunderbolt is like a kind of like a burn, so it's a AOE mechanic. I don't know if it's gonna work in single target. I will try that out, but it seems like I only have 1 Thunderbolt legendary, so maybe I can hit 22 million, maybe not. I'll have to do some more testing to see. And now let's move on to Poison. I think for Poison, if you don't have legendaries, I don't think you can hit 22 million. To be honest, if you don't have legendary, maybe you can if you build Coring correctly, right, with enough skill haste. So the boss is gonna have 40 stacks of poison. But if you just rely on poison stack tick, I still doubt if you can hit 22 million without a legendary. So yeah, but definitely poison is a good faction. There are a lot of poison legendaries here, right? So there is 5 poison legendaries. If you get like 2 of them, you can build like 2 poison teams, right, separately. Well, I don't have this epic champion. Does he have good rating? Yeah, very good rating. Alright, so I guess that's about it. That's the team choice I'm gonna go with. I think on my account, I will try to build like 15 teams. I know like you don't need to go for 15. Maybe 12 or 13 or minimum of 10 is enough. But I will try to go for 15 teams. Try to use all the stamina because they added a lot of damaging mechanic. I want to try them out. So on my server, there is still 2 weeks until Otherworld Exploration opens. So what I need to do is I need to be prepared. So for all of you guys that are not on the most recent server, you need to start preparing, right? I think you will need I will say you're gonna have 1000 large experience potion ready when the Otherworld Exploration opens. So don't go crazy on these gear dungeon, right? As for gear dungeon, like you don't need to farm a lot of curse or rot. Just farm a lot of venom, a lot of positive and negative ruins, and that's about it. And then you're gonna do spamming Goblin Slayer non-stop. You're gonna get the 1000, I think at least 1000. And when you're building team, you don't have to push them to 100. So like, I know building 12 teams, that will require like 50, 60 champions, something like that, right? So try to get them to level 92. I think level 92 on a good, should be good enough Alright, level 92, if you have more experience potion, maybe get them to level 95. But if you're not really pushing damage for like place like Vortex, you don't have to get them to 100. Unless you're like a little bit short towards 22 million, then you can push to level 100. Otherwise, try to save some potion for the first week of Otherworld Exploration. Get these champions to level 92. Farm the elemental domains if necessary, right? And you're gonna get that 10 to 12 teams ready. Alright, so yeah, that's about it. That's all I'm gonna talk about. Maybe when the video went live, on the most recent server, this thing already opens. But on my server, there's still 2 weeks, so I have enough time to prepare. And yeah, that's about it for this week. And I will see you guys in a video soon. Bye.